Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brad. I'm a gardener here in Northeast Ohio, Zone 6B. We are officially 8 weeks out from our last frost date, and that is around April 28th. So most of the seeds that I'm getting prepped to start today are in the 6 to 8 week zone. So we've got a lot to kind of go over, and I want to show you some of them. I'm not going to start all of them on camera just because it's monotonous. There's so many videos about all of this. All of the information is so easily accessible just with a quick Google search that I feel like it just doesn't bear to need to be repeated. So let's just dive in. I've actually went in on all of my seeds here and made a notation of how many I want to start from there. And it's based on how many lines, and I go the long way, how many lines of plants I want. There's 16 per row here. These are from Bootstrap Farmers. And then from there, once everything seems to be growing really, really well, we're about 3 true leaves in, I bump them up to, well, let me show you. I bump them up into these 2-inch pots that I have and then grow them on. After a little while, I do move them out to the greenhouse and the front windows, and they seem to be fine. I just have to go outside every day and rotate them just so that they're getting enough sunlight because of the way the greenhouse is. Hopefully we'll be fixing that. These guys need some water, and there's a few that are just not looking good. I will tell you right off the rip, I'm not starting Vinca plants. These are the flowering Vincas, not the vines. This is Vinca minor or major. They're kind of temperamental inside. I don't know why, but I've had some like dying off here, so I'll go through and I'll pull them off. Any of the weak ones, I'm not even gonna waste space dumping them, and then I'll consolidate, and then we'll just have what we have from there. I'm growing a number of plants because if one does not make it, I hopefully have a backup plant for the spot that I want to use. So, so far that's working in my favor, but I'm going to put these back up, not over here. I'm going to put them into the kitchen because these are the ones that get transitioned out to the greenhouse very shortly. Some other seeds I want to show you and update you on are, these are Orange Wonder Snapdragons and Browalia americana, which is a native seed for us. It's an annual, and it's very, very dense because the seeds are very, very small. So these are gonna get potted up as is, and I'm just gonna allow them to fight it out. I don't have the available space, and I don't really feel like going through all of these. There's obviously some, I don't know if you can tell right there, but there is some yellowing of the leaves. I have not fertilized these yet, so once that's done, they'll be corrected, and then those are also some cotyledons or older leaves, and it's due to being so congested in the cell that they're just trying to get rid of waste. But we'll fix that later today as well. But this is the first year I'm having really good luck. Oh, and this tray has water in it. With snapdragons, and that's shocking. Okay, so as far as other updates, we're having some spotty germination when it comes to Angelonia. Probably not gonna grow that ever again. That's the second year that I've had them, and they're just, I think I'm missing something. I mean, maybe I could do some more reading, but I think that's just a plant that I'd rather just go purchase as need be and try it that way. And the other plant that I did not have the best luck with is the New Guinea Impatient Solarscapes. I think that's on me. I'm getting better at getting more plants, but at the same time, not the best. So maybe we'll try them one more year and see if we can be successful. But now let's just go ahead and dive into what I'm starting and kind of give you a lowdown on how many I anticipate to start, and hopefully we can stick to that. All right, so like I said, we're starting at the 6 to 8 week mark now with our seeds, and this is a big amount of seeds compared to your earlier starting ones, and that just depends on how many you're growing and what your plans are. Clearly, I have big plans. Mark, I'm working on drumstick, which is Crispidia globosa. Drumstick, they're those yellow flowers on little wiry stems. Now, these are coated. I'm not quite sure what they're coated in, and I'm not quite sure if that reduces the germination, but I have it marked here. I'm going to go ahead and just sow all of them, but you can see they're in this white coating here. Why is my hand so dirty? Done nothing. Probably from these seed packets. But yeah, so we're going to see, it's only a light coating. It's not like your typical clay coating, so germination should be fine. These are about 2 years old, I believe. Okay, next on my list, so purple alternanthera, purple prince. This one was actually really easy and fun to grow. It pops up pretty quick. It does need a light covering and needs to be on heat mat. So I'm going to do 2 lines of this because I'm only doing this as an accent plant in a lot of my containers, and then maybe some embellishing in some bedding if I choose to do so, mostly out front for the bedding and then containers in the back. This one is maybe all of them. These are seeds of dahlia seeds from Sarah's Cottage Creation. She's a friend of mine, Sarah Berkeley, that I got to meet over at the First Editions retreat. So she sent out some seeds to get going from her pollinator mix. So I anticipate a lot of single varieties, but you just never know. But if you've never done dahlias from seed, super easy, super quick to sprout, and who knows what kind of variation I'll get, but I've got that many seeds, so not bad. And we'll see if we're going to save any over for the following season like I did last year. Next up is something that most people probably would not even consider, but porcelain. This is the Tuscan Scarlet Shades, which is like a pinky orange, kind of a coral, but more of like jewel tone in that. I'm going to do 1 line of them, and that's because I'm looking for some more drought tolerant annuals to go into containers so I don't have to water so much. These also don't need a lot of fertilizer, so that helps with reducing the impact on maintenance, and they are really easy to just cut off and go. I thought this was just fun. I know some plant companies are releasing a new variety of porcelain, but I'm going to try it from seed to even see if I'm like missing out on something from these newer cultivars. An old-time favorite. This is, I always say it wrong, Gazania? This is the Kiss Flame, Frosty Flame White. I've always loved these guys, and I've always picked them up in this color. This one's supposed to be an improved variety, and it's supposed to have more flowers, and it's supposed to stay open for most of the time. They generally close up near, the night, or in the early morning they're closed, but it's supposed to stay open. I'm not worried about that part. I just want to make sure it's very floriferous. But again, another drought tolerant plant that could easily go into a container here with like our porcelain, and then maybe even mix in that annual vine called Mizu or any other succulents. So looking into more resilient plants for the garden this year. These seeds came from hayfield.com. Her name's Nan. She is a small business that collects her own seeds and has started her own shop, and she is amazing at shipping. Super, super fast. Literally, my orders put together like within the hour of me putting it in, paying for it, and then suddenly it's in the mail the next day, and I have it within 3 to 4 days. She's over in Pennsylvania, so it's not very long. But this is Jewels of Opar, Kingwood Gold. These are last year's seeds, but it says 15 plus seeds. Does that look like 15 seeds? It's definitely on the plus side. She's very generous. So I'm actually going to grow all of these because these are really good fillers. And then from here out, I won't be wasting seed because these will reseed in my garden and come back for me from there. Two more from Nan. This is actually just one plant, but I bought 2 packets. It says 15 seeds plus. A little harder to tell on these, but definitely more than 15 seeds. But we're so used to the typical bachelor's button. This is Brazilian bachelor's button. It has some really cool leaves to it, and I wanted to give this one a try. This is I believe, a pastel color like periwinkle, which is definitely not a color that I tend to go towards, but I was just so enamored by the look of this plant. I don't even care if it flowers. The leaves looked really good. Sticking to old classics, 4 o'clocks. How many of you have actually grown 4 o'clocks? I have never. I have grown plenty of nasturtiums, but never 4 o'clocks. Now I'm doing the red and the fairy trumpets. This one is supposed to be scented, and I love this little pink and orange center to them, and they're more wispy nature, whereas this one's a little more compact and that really punchy red on the outside with hot pink in the center. You guys know I love a good jewel tone. But these ones are only going to get 2 foot tall and about 2 to 3 foot wide each. So I'm planning to put these on our side garden because I want to create a moon/moth garden. And then these ones will be accents and containers. So I might put a couple tucked into beds just to see, but I'm doing 1 line and 1 line for those. As 2 interesting whimsical flowers that have been around for a while, tassel flower and argyratum red bouquet. This one has successfully reseeded in my garden, which was surprising. This one, no surprise, it does reseed, and it's the best little surprise each year because it just comes up and provides that little bit of randomness and whimsy within plantings, and I really, really enjoy that. So I'm doing 4 and 4 lines of each of those. Our next pairing is going to be, well, they're not pairing, they're not going together, but I'm going to do 10 cells of the Mexican torch sunflower. I've actually never grown this. So many people, and so many friends of mine have talked about how much the butterflies love this and how much hummingbirds love it. So for a cheap, inexpensive annual, there's more than enough seeds here to get me going. I'm going to go ahead and give them a try. Now, I don't know that this one reseeds in the garden like other sunflowers, but I will leave some seed heads up for the birds and we'll see what happens from there. They're also drought tolerant once established. Again, cutting back on our water needs and our inputs because sunflowers actually do not like fertilizer. It actually stunts them and stops them from growing and blooming. So if you go without fertilizer, boom. And then I wanted to try balsam. Now, I've always had an infatuation with balsam, but I've actually never given it a try. I ordered seeds called Top Hat at one point and never started them, but they are part of the impatient family. And these will get, I believe, 2 foot by 2.5 feet high and about 1.5 feet wide. So based on that, I'm going to space them at 1 foot. I'm going to do 2 lines of that, which makes 32 plants. And these will do good in part sun, and they do good in full sun as well. So seed to bloom is about 10 to 12 weeks on these, but these do sprout quite readily, and they are known to reseed in our gardens around here. I have a friend who's had them. So I'm really excited to finally have something a little more random in my shade gardens and see how they do this year. All right, another oldie. I'm going to be doing 3 lines of this. This is Pimpernel Gentine Blue, and the pictures show this beautiful true blue flower. Now this is only going to get 6 to 12 inches high and only about 1 foot wide, but there are so many seeds in here, and this is supposed to reseed for us. I've never grown it. It just looked enticing, so why not? We're going to do a total of 48 plants and see if we can't bed them out somewhere and let them go. They are supposed to, where does this say? Summer to fall, they're supposed to bloom. So that's exciting, and it might reseed. True classic, and I had to hunt this one down this year because I screwed up and when I placed my Outside Pride order and forgot to order them. What is wrong with me? But I'm doing Alyssum Oriental Nights. I've grown this one out front, and I am so impressed by this Alyssum. that it's, first off, so easy to start 5,000 seeds in here. That's 5,000 plants, and it reseeds on its own. So I'm only going to start 5 lines only. Out of 8 lines, I'm going to start 5. And I'm going to just use these everywhere because this type of plant is so nice to have around because you can pluck it and get rid of it if you don't want it in that area, or it can fill in the gaps so that you can reduce your mulching, and then you get these beautiful flowers that smell good, and tons of pollinators absolutely love alyssum. And it's a really dark variety as well. Up next is a beautiful ornamental plant, but highly, highly dangerous. So please be cautious anytime you go around the seed pods. If you are looking to collect seeds from this plant, do so with gloves, and make sure you toss the gloves out once you're done collecting, harvesting, and drying the seeds, because this is a very deadly plant in that aspect. Other than that, the whole plant is fine to touch. I do not understand why people who say poisonous plants, don't touch any part of it. You can touch the plant. Don't eat the plant. Okay? If it's poisonous, don't eat it. Do not leave the seeds if you have pets that are known to eat things. Other animals will know better not to touch this, such as our wild animals. If you do not like the flowers, which I actually do, then go ahead and cut them off before they even come up, and this will create more branching for the plant. But castor beans are really beautiful, very tropical looking, and very fun plants to grow. Another one that does not like fertilizer, believe it or not. It stops its growth and it will not do anything. So if you are not getting good growth out of it, might be your fertilizer. I'm also going to be trying Chinese foxglove this year. This isn't a heavy blooming variety. I do like plants that are heavy blooming for big impacts, but I also like plants that are just a little more subdued. I don't need constant in your face type of things. There needs to be a relaxing moment in my garden in most spaces, because it can become too overwhelming. So this is not a floriferous variety, but a beautiful variety nonetheless. These are going to get about 2 to 2.5 feet tall and only 10 inches wide, and they are amazing hummingbird and bee attractors and should self-seed in the garden. So if you're looking for something a little different or something that's not too overly garish, check out these Chinese foxgloves. We're getting close to the end, I promise, but have you ever seen mask flower? This is a plant that's gone by. I've never noticed it, and this year the picture finally caught my attention, and I said I wanted to try this over in one of my prairie style gardens, my naturalistic matrices. This will reseed in the garden as well, and they're going to get 2 to 2.5 foot tall and only about a foot and a half wide. So these are going to bloom summer through fall. They are said to do better in a part sun situation with even moisture. And you will need to deadhead for the flowers to continuously come on. So we will see how much work they are. I generally don't like to deadhead these types of things. I'd rather them just pop up and bloom when they're supposed to. So I might just allow it to go to seed, and from there decide if it wants to come back in my garden or not. A marigold called that. I'm not gonna butcher that. Is it Zochi? Orange. This is a very large marigold, getting 4 to 5 feet tall, huge blooms up to about that big apparently, great for cut flowers. I just want to try it. I'm only going to do 1 line, so that's 16 plants. I'll use them in the back of a border somewhere and just tuck them in, probably out front, maybe to deter the deer a little bit. We'll see. But I thought, you know what? I have a seed. Let's give it a go. And then if I don't like it, I'll give the seeds to somebody else. What I do like are these marigolds. These are marigold strawberry blonde. I have tried growing these 2 years in a row since I found plants for start at a local garden center, and they hate me, so this is going to be my 3rd year, and if it doesn't work, I'm not growing them ever again. I'll just go find and buy them. But they grow pretty easy. They're only going to be 8 to 12 inches tall, 8 to 10 inches wide. And I was thinking about putting these out front with the alyssum and maybe the blue pumpernickel. What was that stuff called? Yeah, pumpernickel, gentian blue. So blue, purples, and oranges. I don't know. I like to experiment, but maybe our next plant would be a good combo. Oh, purple, orange, and pink. I love it. This is Crimson Better Nicotiana. I actually had a terrible experience with this one last year because I allowed these poor babies to just die in their cell, and I only had one survive. So I'm going to start the rest of them. I don't know how many are in here. Such tiny seeds, you can see them right there. So get a toothpick and sit there and lick and get them in, but maybe I'm not going to be starting all of that. That'd be crazy. But I will start a full tray of these for bedding out because I think this is just an easy plant that's a great filler. And these ones only get, doesn't even say, 24 inches tall. A couple other Nicotianas. I'm going to put these two together because it's interesting. So Select Seeds has been selling hot chocolate for a while, and I've grown this one and I like it. It's a deep, muddy red burgundy, but it's definitely a chocolatey color. Whereas now they're introducing their own selection called Chocolate Chip. What's the difference here? Let's look at sizes. 3 to 4 foot on hot chocolate, 3 to 4 foot on chocolate chip, 1.5 wide, 1.5 wide, summer to fall, summer to fall. I mean, I don't see what the difference is, so we're gonna grow both of them this year and decide what the difference is and which one might be even better and which one you should be growing, comparing the two. Final plants are more Nicotiana. I'm gonna do one line of woodland tobacco. I have grown this and I have plants that come back, but I've never gotten a single bloom and it makes no sense to me. So we're just gonna see what we can do this year. I'm gonna move whatever I plant here into a more wet site and see if that helps. The last one is Tobacco Starlight Dancer. This is gonna go for the moth garden. And this one is supposed to have an amazing jasmine-like scent in the evening. I love Nicotiana because they're just durable. They can handle part sun, sometimes even slipping into a little more shade, all the way to full sun. They're just really, really good plants. And the hummingbirds love them, and so do pollinators, and they're just fun. And they generally reseed for you. They'll just bloom a lot later versus the ones you start from seed. But these ones are gonna get 3.5 foot tall and about 2 foot wide, and they bloom summer through fall. So I'm excited to get a whiff of this one. All right, so a few last things that I wanted to cover are, I kind of already mentioned the trays that I'm using. These are 120 count trays. You do not have to use these. These just provide me more space. Unfortunately, it does mean that I can't grow the plants on for very long. I do need to bump them up, which then reduces the amount of space. But this also allows me to, one, not have to do soil blocking. I don't like it. I've tried it. It's not for me. But because I'm using less soil and less space, if anything that doesn't make it, dies there, I can just pop out the good ones, pot them on, and then again, I've built up more space. As far as what I use for labeling, I just use a set of blinds from the local department store, cheapy ones. I cut the string, drop all the blinds out, and then cut them up as I go. And I use a number 2 pencil, not this one. This one's been sitting in soil because I use this one as a dibber to write on it. And it seems like lead pencil is actually the best way for anything that gets wet. It repels it. So I've just been using a number 2 pencil. Fertilizer, I'm just using a fertilizer like this. This one is a 10-4-3 fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. I only use this at 1/4 of a strength for the first time using the fertilizer, and then after that I go in with half strength, and I am fertilizing weekly now with this. Once your seedlings are at 2 to 3 true leaves, not the cotyledon that comes up first. Once you start seeing the actual plant's leaves of what it's supposed to look like, that's when you're supposed to fertilize at 2 to 3 leaves. Cannot stress that enough because you can burn your plant and lose those seedlings, which would be terrible. And then I'm just using a watering can that I have. And then these are the lights that I am using. I have them in 2 different styles. One's a 3-footer, this one is a 4-footer. And what I do is I go through and I slice these open and take off this diffuser. That way the light is penetrating consistently down and giving me better light and more light strength onto the plant. These do come with a clip that you just slide in and then the wires loop together, plug in like that. From there, you can lower and raise these. I will show you on my setup kind of how I have it. And that is it. Just make sure you're not overwatering your seedlings. Make sure you are keeping up with fungus gnats. I have the little yellow strips on my trays that have caught a couple. I've actually not had very many this year. I don't know what that's about. And as far as soil mix that I use, I'm just using a regular potting soil with no added fertilizer. I think it's called, here's the mix I'm using. This is Sunshine Mix number 4. Contains resilience, may improve resistance to wilting, provides airspace, indoor and outdoor growing, designed for professional growers. This was on clearance at my local Menards. If you were in like the Midwest area, Menards is pretty popular. I got this for under 14 bucks, and it's 2 cubic foot. I've been having perfectly good results with this. I will say ever since I did start fertilizing, boy, the algae on the top of the soil has gotten a little more excessive. So I will be doing a little bit of scraping to remove that here shortly. And then last but not least, you need somewhere to put your soil. And I just use these. These are laundry baskets from my local Myers grocery store. They're about $7. Garden trugs at the garden centers literally sell for $15 to $20, if not more, for this. This is from Menards. I buy 2 every year. I have a whole stack of these things. And Myers is a grocery store / somewhat department store. It's a smaller Walmart, a friendly place that I love going. I actually love my Myers. And that's pretty big over here on the East Coast. So if you're on the West Coast, I'm sorry. But these are amazing. So check your local department store for garden trugs rather than some of these other places. I'm sorry. We're all trying to save money in this economy these days. That's why I'm starting all these flowers, so I don't buy too much when it comes to annuals, because I do it every year. I spend more than I need. There are things that I'm going to buy, but I'm going to really try to be good this year. So I think that's going to wrap up this video. I'm going to throw on my TV shows on my laptop while I'm sitting here at the dining room table, and it's time to get dirty and plant some seeds. So have fun at your 6 to 8 week mark of seeds, and we will check back in not much longer, and see what else is going on in the garden, because the weather is starting to warm up and we should be able to get out and start doing our spring cleanup, which is a lot. But next rounds of seeds are going to be those quick guys, such as Celosia, Zinnias, Cosmos, and all those other ones. And I can't wait to show you what varieties I picked up. All right, guys, well, that's going to end this video officially. Thanks for joining me and looking over what seeds I'm getting started, and I will see you in the next video.